I'm not in Edinburgh today, I'm in Glasgow, and I'm standing outside the Theatre Royal on Hope Street. Now this is the oldest and the most haunted theatre in Glasgow. It was built in 1867 as the Royal Coliseum and Opera House, and in the 1950s it was converted into a television studio for STV. 1974 converted back into a theatre and run by Scottish Opera, and it still runs as a theatre to this day. There's been a couple of major fires at the Theatre Royal over the years, and it's known to be haunted by two ghosts. Now the oldest ghost is the ghost of a woman called Nora. We don't have a date for this story when it happened, but this ghost is well known to the staff who work at the theatre. And apparently the story goes she was a member of staff at the theatre, perhaps a cleaning lady, but she wanted to be an actress or a singer in the shows, so she kept pestering the theatre manager to audition for the shows. But he always refused her and said, "You've no experience, don't waste your time." But eventually he gave in and he allowed her to audition. And she auditioned on the stage at the theatre, but the audition went really badly and she was laughed off the stage. And apparently she was so upset and heartbroken, she killed herself. Now some versions of this story say she threw herself from the gallery at the top of the theatre down into the auditorium and killed herself that way. And there's been a lot of sightings of a shadowy female figure up in the lighting gallery at the very top of the theatre. There's also been moans and sighs heard, doors banging. People feel they've been watched. People feel unwelcome up in the top part of the theatre. She's been seen by follow spot operators and members of the audience who are watching a show and glance up and see this dark figure moving about the lighting gallery. So that's the first ghost, Nora. The second ghost we do have a date for, November 1969. STV were broadcasting live from this building and an electrical fire broke out in the basement. So they had to stop the broadcast, evacuate the theatre, and it took 90 firemen to put the fire out. It got out of control, and the only way to stop it was they filled the building with expandable foam to starve the fire of oxygen. So the fire was eventually put out. Then they realised one of the firemen was missing. So they mounted a search of the theatre, and in the basement they found the body of a fireman floating in 6 feet of water. So he'd either been drowned there or his oxygen tank had ran out of air and he was unable to get out. Now the figure of a man wearing 1960s style fire uniform has been seen in the lower part of the theatre, the basement area and the orchestra pit. And musicians who play in the orchestras and shows there report that he stares at them while they're playing during the shows. There's also been things moved about backstage, things misplaced, and a workman in 2006 was working in here on his own and something hit him in the back of the head. There was nobody there. So that's the Theatre Royal in Glasgow, the most haunted theatre in this city.